Hey, everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Fire and Earth podcast. I'm your co-host, Kathy Groover.
And I'm Jason Mefford. And today we're going to talk about a very big word. This is one of those words that I like to call $10 words, right? Have you ever heard that term before? Where
Yes.
like somebody uses a big word and you're like, ooh, that's a $10 word, right?
Mm-hmm.
Synchronicity, synchronicity, right? Now, if you've heard that term before,
Mm-hmm.
you've probably heard it. The Police have the band The Police. I know I have to bring this in, Kathy, right? But
Okay.
Synchronicity and Synchronicity 2 are some songs from The Police. You might have heard it from there. Or if you're familiar with Carl Jung, right? He was one who was big on talking about synchronicity. I
Mm-hmm.
don't know if he coined the term or not, but that's one of the ways that it kind of came out into popular culture as well. So,
Yeah.
and if you haven't heard about either one of those, then we're going to talk a little bit about it.
Yeah, absolutely. So just for our, me, nerdy friends, I looked up the actual definition of synchronicity, and according to dictionary.com, the simultaneous occurrence of events which appear significantly related but have no discernible causal connection. So things that like work out the way you want it to, or things that, it's that you're thinking of a friend and 2 hours later she calls. You're thinking of a certain song and you turn on the radio and it's on. To me, that's that synchronicity stuff.
Yep. Yep.
Can I give you my favorite example of synchronicity?
Of course you can. That's why
Thank
we're
you.
here, right?
Yay, good.
You
So,
don't need permission from me.
well, you're the co-host. I figured I should check it. I was going to tell it anyway, but
Oh yeah, yeah.
wanted buy-in from you. So I'm on a safari in South Africa. And when I got to the safari resort, they were telling me about the animals they have at this game preserve. And they had one cheetah. Started out with like 12 or 13, one was left. Cheetah's my favorite animal. It's always been my dream to like see a cheetah in the wild, not in a zoo, but like see a cheetah. And I said to the guy, oh my God, what do we have to do to see this cheetah? And he said, well, he's pretty elusive. We maybe see him 1 out of every 10 game drives. But we'll do what we can. We all have radio contact. So very last day of the game drive, this is my final safari. Everybody else is staying a couple more days in my group. There was one woman in the group who was the biggest pain in the ass. She was always late. She was always cold. She needed to go back for something. She held us up so many times, and she was just a whiny. She was driving me crazy. So the morning of the final game drive, we had to be up at like 4 a.m. to get going. So they had coffee and some pastries and stuff. We grabbed whatever we wanted. We got on the truck and we're ready to go. And her partner comes down, but she's not there. And we're all like, oh, here we go. So we said, oh, what's her, I don't remember what her name was. What's her name? He goes, oh, she's got a headache. She doesn't want to come. And we all kind of went, oh, yeah. Woo, okay, good, let's go. And we're on time. All the trucks have loaded up. And all of a sudden his cell phone goes off and he goes, oh, hang on. And we're like, what? He goes, wait, oh, guys, I'm so sorry. She actually wants to come. Can we wait 10 minutes? And I'm like, seriously? Like, this is my last drive. Like, I want to see this cheetah. I want to see the rest of the animals. So what's the guy going to say? No. So we wait for her. It's 20 minutes. Well, I had to get my coffee, and thank you guys so much for waiting. So she gets on this truck. Everyone's like, oh, no. We head out towards the middle of this game preserve, the area we haven't been to yet. And it's a long drive to get out to this waterway where there's water buffalo and warthogs and all this stuff. And about 10 minutes into our drive, someone on the radio says, we have eyes on the cheetah, totally across the back to where we were. And we stopped. And our guide, who was amazing, said, what do you guys want to do? We can continue on to the middle of the preserve to go see all these other stuff, or we double back. We hope we get there in time to see this cheetah. Everybody else had either been there, does it all the time, had more days, and they all turned to me and I went, I got to see the cheetah. And he went, hang on. And he floored it. We were banging up the head of this Jeep and we are hauling ass. And finally we get to where there's some of the other trucks. We don't know where he went. And I'm like, oh my God, did I miss the cheetah? And all of a sudden I go, there it is. And off on the side of our Jeep, cheetah running alongside of us. I burst into tears. It was the most incredible experience. And we followed him along for a while and we watched him stretch and play and eat. And it was just life-changing experience for me. We then move on, go to see the other stuff. And at the end of the day, everybody gets out of the Jeep, and I had told our guide that he got me to see a cheetah, I would give him 200 of whatever their currency was, which to us was like $10. But it was like, I gave him 200. And I say, I owe you money. And I gave him the thing. And then I stopped for a second and I went, wait, I just realized something. He said, what's that? I said, if she would have been on time, or if she would have decided not to go, we would have been too far out to turn around and see the cheetah. And he said, yeah. And I said, so all of us thinking, what a pain in the ass this lady is, because of her, I got to see this cheetah. And he goes, amazing how things work out, doesn't it? And I was just like, that story sticks with me because we thought it was such a pain in the ass. And it was her tardiness and pain in the assness that allowed me to have this dream come true for me. Now, again, completely unrelated things. I don't know. To me, there was some universal reason that happened. And other people of chaos theory are like, everything's random. We're putting meaning on that. It was just purely a coincidence that all happened. But to me, there's significance to it.
Well, there is. And a lot of the people that only believe in just the chaos theory, it's because they're looking at too discrete of a time span, right? To where they're saying, well, just everything within this time span is chaotic. Again, extrapolate it out and you will find that chaos is uniform as well, right? That there is chaos within shorter time frames, but in the longer, bigger scheme of things, there is no randomness in the universe, right? And like you said, I think that's what is so interesting about synchronicity is, as you said, sometimes they appear to be completely unrelated things, but they're probably not, right? And so much of the time, and this is where I think, some people talk about ease and flow and allowing, some different words that people use, right? Because I think so much of the time we're trying to force something to happen, right? Like you're like, damn it, let's go. It's 4:00. I want to go see my cheetah, right? And so as humans, we're wanting to control, right? Because we think if we control that we will get the results that we want. But the reality is we have absolutely no control over anything except for how we respond to things. How we choose to view things, how we think about things, what we choose to allow ourselves to get into emotionally or whatever else. And the beautiful thing about, like you said, the synchronicity is if you look around, there's really no coincidences, right? Things have been programmed, things have been planned, things fall into place exactly the way they need to if we will just allow it to be. And so just like in your cheetah example, right? It was that way. It's funny because we went whale watching a few months ago, and we knew we weren't going to see whales. It wasn't whale season. But I wanted to see dolphins, right? Because dolphins are an important animal for me. So we go out. It's a great day. Seems like a great day. We get into the boat, and the guy, he's been doing this for a long time. He's like, I just got to tell you guys, it's fine right here in the bay, but we're told when we get out about a mile, it gets pretty choppy, and we might have to turn around and come back because the weather's getting a little worse, right? Again, it's the boats. It's not a safety issue, but when you've got 50, 70 people on some boat, you don't want a bunch of people seasick, right? So just for commercial reasons, they won't do it. But I had set the intention that no, damn it, I'm gonna see dolphins. Everything's gonna be okay. We get out there, we get started. Same thing. We're going out. The sun is starting to set, so it's kind of hard to see, and so we can't really see what's out there, right? But dolphins had been spotted, and so we just kept kind of going. And he kept thinking, okay, well, I'm gonna have to see. We might have to turn around. We might have to turn around. No, I'm just sitting there. Oh, everything's gonna be okay, right? We end up getting out there, and there were about 1,000 dolphins in this school once we finally got to them. I mean, one of the most amazing things that I had ever seen, right? But I was also okay with realizing I knew that we were going to see dolphins. I didn't know how we were going to do it, but we
Hmm.
were going to see it, and I was just going to allow it to be because I couldn't do anything about it, right? And so there's things like this that happen to us all the time. If we will just look, you will find examples of synchronicity in your life.
Yep.
And a lot of time, it reminds me of that Garth Brooks song, Thank God for Unanswered Prayers,
Yeah, we do try to
right?
force things, right? And it's
Yeah.
there's a couple quotes. You cannot force be patient, my son. One cannot force a river after all. It's
Hmm.
coming, and you can't make it go
You can't
faster.
force it. No.
It's gonna just flow the way it flows. Eckhart Tolle, who I'm a huge fan of, I'm reading A New Earth again, and he was talking about our unhappiness and our suffering, and he said our unhappiness comes from our unacceptance of the isness of the moment. So us wanting it to be different, and it's like it's not different. This is what we have, and when you're trying to force something or when you're unhappy with something, it often doesn't work out. I remember trying to either force a relationship or I really want to be in this play, and I'm like forcing that to happen, and then I get in it and I go, oh God, this sucks. I'm so sorry that I'm actually in this show. I remember walking off plays because I'm like, I actually didn't, this is not what I signed up for. And there's stories of people who, are so frustrated on 9/11 because their kid forgot their school project and they have to divert from work to go drop off their kid's project. And an hour later, the building is down. Is that something in the universe guiding that synchronous thing to happen so that because it wasn't that person's time? I don't know. I don't have the blueprints. I wish I did. But things like that happen all the time. Have you ever seen the musical of the Titanic?
The musical? No, I've seen the
It
movie
was
a few times, but not the
it
musical.
was the most horrible musical. I don't know why they did it, but I saw it on Broadway, and we all know how it ends. Not going to be a surprise. As the ship, it was beautifully done, huge ship. The ship pulls off the stage, and this one character runs out and goes, "Wait, oh, I have the worst luck." Thinking she missed getting to do this maiden voyage on the Titanic. And of course, the audience bursts into laughter because we know her bad luck just saved her life.
Yeah.
It's like, there's synchronicity. I believe in that.
Well, it did. And it's, again, I mean, and to the flip side, with it is, it's not to just missing getting on the Titanic, right? Or getting cut off in traffic, or forgetting something at home and having to go back, or some of
Mhm.
these things like that. But it's also too, it works the other way too, is that as we are doing these little random acts of kindness, if you will, a lot of times we have no idea the synchronistic impact that may have, right?
Mhm.
You're kind to someone. You're driving in traffic, and instead of having road rage or whatever else, right? You allow things to happen. You're kind to someone,
Mhm.
right? And as a result of that, maybe they do something different. Maybe
Yeah.
maybe later that day there was going to be a crossroads for them in their life, right? And if you were the asshole that put them over the line, and again, it's still their choice. I'm not right. We all have free choice,
Yeah.
but some little random act of kindness can actually help in the synchronistic chain of things that happen
Absolutely.
as
What's the
well.
butterfly effect, right?
It's the butterfly effect. And so I think there's, because I've seen in my life, I mean, a lot of different examples where things just started to unfold in a way that I never would have
Mhm.
expected.
Yep.
And a lot of times, it's kind of like Steve Jobs talks about in that famous Stanford commencement talk.
Mm.
You can never put together the dots of your life until you turn around
Yeah.
and then you see how they line up.
Yeah.
And there's been a lot of things. It's like, why the hell am I going through this? Why am I experiencing this? Right? Because at that moment, we're sitting there thinking, why me, God? Right? I mean, people say that all the time. Why me, God?
Mhm.
Well, just relax, because later on, you're probably going to figure out exactly why you went through that.
Yep.
It's part of the synchronicity of the universe.
It's part of your journey and your experience, and I don't have to tell the villager with the horse story for the 15th time on the show, but it's the, we'll see.
Mm-hmm.
He broke his arm, he doesn't get taken to the army. Okay, well, is that good? He broke his arm, that's horrible. Well, we'll see. And now because he broke his arm, he doesn't have to go into the army. We'll see. It's like, we never know if this stuff's going to be, quote, good or bad. It's just a thing.
Mm-hmm.
And we label it. And the other thing Eckhart Tolle says is, it's not the situation that brings us unhappiness. It's our thoughts about the situation that cause all the suffering. I broke my finger, period. That's what it is. It's our thought. Well, now I'm not going to get to do trapeze. Now I'm not going to get to do massage. If I can't do massage, I can't pay my bills. It's that spiraling of thoughts that's actually the issue.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and how we choose to label it, because like you said, is it good? Is it bad? What if we just say, well, it is.
It is.
Right. Just like the story of the farmer with the horse, because and just accept and be in the present moment. Obviously do what you can, be a good person, but don't also just realize and allow the flow to happen the way it needs to happen, right? Because something bigger than you is helping to guide you.
Yeah. And maybe you'll get to see your cheetah.
Yeah,
Cool. I like it. All right, everybody, just, try to let go a little bit. We can't control a lot of this stuff. And believe me, I'm not great at it. I was so mad at this woman. And in that retrospect of looking back at the dots, I went, holy shit, because she was an asshole, I got to see my cheetah.
Well, and I think what's interesting too, because I think that's another good point to bring up here, and maybe we'll talk about this more, but there's a word called transmutation, another $10 word. And we have the choice, right, we receive certain things and we can transmute it. We can change it. It's the alchemic process of changing what is given to us and sending back out something different. Right. And so in that example that you were talking about, I think it's beautiful because, again, and I understand, I would have been the same way, kind of annoyed. Oh, damn it. The bitchy woman's coming with this and I don't want to have to deal with her shit. Right. Feeling annoyed, feeling some of that. But you transmuted that feeling of annoyance with that woman as you moved forward, and at the end, when you realized, that annoyance that I felt got transmuted into gratitude. And when you stop and reflect and you do that, now what you were sending out, right, at the end, instead of sending out an annoyance feeling, if you will, into the universe, it was oh my gosh, I'm so grateful that woman who I felt was annoying, I am grateful to her for doing exactly what she chose to do on her path, because her living her path, her doing what she did, even though at the time I did not realize, I am so grateful that she did, because she allowed me to receive the gift of having the cheetah run alongside the Jeep. I mean, come on, holy shit. That's like, that's stuff out of a movie, right? And so I think that's that's another thing that's probably important to realize as you're thinking about synchronicity is be grateful for what seems like the shit in life sometimes, because it's probably preparing and lining you up so that you can get exactly what it is that you want.
And we forget that. We get off the path and things bad happen, and it's hard sometimes. There is definitely suffering, and it's hard to see the gifts in that sometimes. So, yeah, yay. All right, everybody, look for those synchronicities in your life. Go with the flow. Try to let go. And I'm Kathy Groover. I can be reached at kathygroover.com.
And I'm Jason Mefford. I can be reached at jasonmefford.com. So go out, have a great rest of your week, and we'll catch you on the next episode of the Fire and Earth podcast. See ya.
Yeah.